Third down and 20.
But let's go on. Since we're basically an Eagles podcast, we got to talk about it. Doug Pederson is canned.
About this team.
Man, this team, it's just one week after the next, they are in the news for something crazy, and it seems like it's just crazier and crazier and crazier. I did not see this coming. Initially coming into the offseason, they said that they were going to keep on Doug Pederson. According to sources close to Doug Pederson, the same people that broke the sources that he was fired, I think it was a little bit more mutual than people expected, because Doug Pederson said he was tired of people telling him what to do. And we kind of alluded to it on the tank job segment from last week. From the outside, you could kind of see it. I think, we had speculated that the higher-ups in the organization forced him to play Sudfeld and lose the game, whether they were actually tanking or not. We believe that they were. I think you can see that with their player personnel decisions in the draft, especially. This is a team in 2017 when I did my Eagles analysis, was a run-first team, a power football team. We beat you at the line of scrimmage. We have a lot of big bodies out there. To now, it looks like, coming into, they just drafted a bunch of fast receivers. Miles Sanders. It looks like they were a team now that wanted to spread you out and beat you with speed. And they threw on basically every first down through a ball, through the pass. Every first down, which was not working, and it was head scratching a lot of the times with the decisions that was being made, because guys like Jason Peters, I thought should have been benched weeks ago before he was.
Eons.
And, hearing that Doug Pederson from his camp saying, I was tired of people telling me what to do, I think it completely makes sense now what we were seeing from the Eagles this whole entire season. I think that the higher-ups, the data analytics, all this jazz just got to a point where it's like, is Doug Pederson even the coach anymore? So, I mean, I think he should be in the running for a job. Steve, what are your just overall thoughts on the whole saga of the Eagles that has now concluded with Doug Pederson being canned?
This is just the icing on the cake. The Eagles have been such a hot topic since they threw away that game. And now with Doug Pederson gone, maybe he can be put to rest. But, I agree with you. They clearly did not see eye to eye. Like I said a little bit before, Pederson said the relationship was terrible mid-season, probably why you saw this team was in contention for a little bit. I mean, you could won 2 games and been in contention week 13 this season in this division. But I think that's why you saw this Eagles team not really play up to an Eagles team par maybe. I know they beat the Saints, but it is interesting now. Doug Pederson will find another job in this league. He will. Whether it's a head coach, maybe for the Jets, I could see the Jets jetting it up, or somewhere on the staff. But now, what does this mean for Carson Wentz? I think this increases Carson Wentz's chances of staying in Philadelphia, drastically. I was pretty much sold if Doug Pederson was going to be back and Wentz was going to be gone, probably playing for the Colts or something next year. I think now he has a very good chance of staying because they get a new head coach in there. He still sees the talent ability of Carson. It's let me get one crack at him before y'all give up on Carson Wentz. I could see that.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been speculating, is that the decision to fire Doug Pederson was basically the Eagles chose Wentz over Pederson. And to be honest, I disagree. I don't think that's it. I still think that Carson Wentz's time in Philadelphia is done. And I think the big problem with the vision between Doug Pederson and Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman was that Doug Pederson wanted to win football games. And I think this Eagles team sees this as a multiple-year project. And I think that Doug Pederson did not want to be a part of that. I think that he thought, I think what was going on behind the scenes was that Doug Pederson was advocating, hey, give me a year with Carson Wentz. Let me have some control. Let me hire the guys I want to hire again. Yeah, I may have screwed up and whatnot last year, but I can still do this job. I'm still suited for the league, and I can turn this around. Just, stop staring at the damn computers and let the football guy start making some decisions. And I think that Jeffrey Lurie didn't want to hear that. I think that he sided and, he wanted to go with Howie Roseman. He wanted to go with this new way of looking at football, through the data analytics perspective and keep that going. And that was, Doug Pederson. It was either Doug Pederson or Roseman, and they chose Roseman. And at the end of the day, I don't think Doug Pederson should have been canned. Which is weird to say because I was really pissed at Doug Pederson a lot this season. I can understand why people wanted him to be canned. Looking at the tape, it was just ridiculous. But I'm going to come out and I'm going to stick to my guns. I don't think a lot of these problems were because of Pederson. I think that he was being forced to run a system that wasn't suited to this football team. He's not in charge of the player personnel, which is a big problem with this football team. The fact they haven't hit on draft picks. They've been trying to force a system onto this football team that is like the Chiefs and like these other, college offenses that are now coming to the NFL where, from the data analytics perspective is better. That's why they were throwing on first downs all the time and why they've been choosing fast players in the draft that can stretch the field and all that jazz. I think that is why the Eagles have been struggling, is that at the end of the day, the computers and the algorithms don't have everything down yet. And I think we kind of saw that unfold the past couple of seasons. I still think that the Eagles think that they know something the NFL doesn't. I think they got a little bit too ahead of themselves and thought they were too smart because they won that Super Bowl 3 years ago. And, the other problem with Pederson and Lurie, I guess, a little bit, was that they weren't able to replace staff effectively. Their position coaches and whatnot, it kind of screwed them. And then the Carson Wentz situation was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. You paid the guy $130 million and he ends up becoming a backup quarterback. You can't do that and expect to win football games, especially now that you're 50-something, 60-something million dollars over the cap. And the cap maybe even going down. They're in a rough spot. But I don't think Pederson was the problem. I do think that Pederson could have turned it around if you gave him a little bit more control, and I think paired him, or at least had a little bit more of a connection with him and Roseman that I think is just deteriorated. They were supposedly blaming each other. I think it's two guys that egos got a little bit too big after winning the Super Bowl. They both thought that they were the reason for the Super Bowl, and they both want balance. And I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's interesting, though. Usually after a coach wins a Super Bowl, they're given a whole lot more leeway on what they can do. And especially in someone like Doug Pederson, during his tenure, name the coaches that have more playoff wins than Doug Pederson. Belichick, that's probably it, right? I mean, he's got 4 playoff wins.
Like, three out of the last 4 years. There are teams that would give up a whole lot to do that,
Yeah. He's 4-2 with a Super Bowl and in the playoffs. Belichick's won. Yeah, Belichick probably has like 7 or 8 wins in the playoffs. And maybe now Sean McVay, after that win last week, is tied with him. But no, actually, he would still be leading, right? Yeah. I mean, dude, Doug Pederson, I think it is just simple as he didn't like him and he didn't like him, And it's just at the end of the day, I don't want to work for you. You don't want to work for me.
No, I do think that Doug Pederson deserves to be a coach in the league. And now let's go into where we think the Eagles are going to go from here. I think the Eagles are going to shock some people with their head coaching hiring. I think they did that a little bit before. They've kind of, looking back at who they've hired in the past, it's always been kind of some surprise guys that they kind of mold into coaches, and it's not like an established guy. It seems like they kind of try to make their own coaches. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that, especially with the fact that I think that they can't, with the setup that they have, and with Roseman and other guys higher in the organization wanting a lot of power, I don't think that they can take a guy that's going to be like, hey, I'm coming in, I have the power, I want to run my system. I think that they need a guy that they know that will...
Is a puppet.
Yeah, it'll be a puppet a little bit, where it's like, okay, we can have our hand in the pot and make player personnel decisions, and oh, this guy's going to play here like this, and you're just going to make it happen, and that's why I think that it's going to be a kind of a surprise hire, in my opinion, where it's not going to be one of these big name guys that's going to go in and put my stamp on the Eagles. It's going to be, hey, you're going to listen to what we have to say and work with what we have to give you.
It's going to be Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly coming back.
Chip Kelly just comes back. I don't know who they're going to hire. I really don't.
Supposedly they're interviewing Gerard Mayo.
Gerard Mayo? Okay. Is Joe Brady like too kind of...
No, see, I think Joe Brady would... See, that's the exact kind of hire I don't think they're going to do, because Joe Brady's the kind of guy that I feel like would want to come in and put his stamp on the Eagles, which you'd have to be an idiot.
Wouldn't they just go for Wouldn't they just go for a huge sabermetrics coach then? Blah.
I don't know what they would go for, to be honest. Like,
honestly, they can hire me and tell me whatever they want me to do. Just give me a check. If you're looking for a puppet, I'll gladly be a puppet and just be kind of like a Dan Quinn on the sideline, just another cheerleader clapping hands.
It's a clap guy. So are they gonna hire that Jason Garrett then? If they need a clap guy.
They do need a clap guy.
A clap guy puppet. Like
nobody claps better than Jason Garrett. Nobody claps better than Jason Garrett.
He's got years of practice clapping on the sideline.
He's a beast at it. They get Anthony Lynn.